Hey, what's up, family? Welcome to Ask to My Eyes,
where we challenge you to stop playing and start pushing.
This right here is my scrumptious wife, Aiyana.
And this is my oh so cool, smooth, with a V, husband, Ayize.
What's up, y'all?
Okay, guys, we're going to get right to this question. This is a really good question, I have to say, and it's one that's been asked of us lots of times, and it's one that we actually have some personal experience in as well. So I'm not going to read the whole question. If you want to see the whole question, you can go online to reallovehelp.com and you can see the full question. So here it is. This is a young lady who's been single for 10 years before she met her current partner online. She wasn't expecting to fall in love, but she did, and they clicked her and this dude on many levels, so many levels. They've been in a relationship for 10 months now. They're now contemplating marriage. She's a single mother of 3. He's a single father. They both play an active role in their children's lives. She loves his parenting, his work ethics, his level of intelligence, his caring nature, the fact that they speak every day. They see each other probably every week, as they have decided to wait until marriage to sleep together. Kudos to you. And they advise each other on future work goals, family goals, mortgages, and they debate about differing opinions and laugh together, and they just have a really great relationship. She loves this brother. And yet and still she says there are some problems. There are two primary problems. The first one is that she's a born-again Christian. He identifies as Christian but is not born again and does not go to church very often. Okay, that's a problem for her. The second problem is how he talks about black women. He has a low view of us, this is what she says, based on what he has seen around him. She says we're both black, and he has a strong passion for the black community, wants to make a difference and so forth, but says that, you know, black women got a lot of issues, and he says that she's different, and she takes offense because she's Christian and she's a black woman. And he has made comments and has some views about both of those things, black women and Christianity, that cause her for some concern. So she says, look, is this somebody I should be really trying to contemplate living my life with? Or should I just go ahead and say, you know what, these issues, despite all of your wonderful characteristics, are just too big to overcome?
Yeah, and so to answer this question, one of the things that I want to lift up is that when it comes to relationship development, relationship growth, and really just establishing something that's long-term with somebody, it's really critical that you all have core foundational principles that are in sync. It doesn't mean that people won't change over time, but essentially, when it comes to those core and key areas of life like spirituality, like self-identity, parenting, it's really critical that you all are aligned more than you're not aligned. And so when I hear you asking this question about whether or not I should step off despite the fact that he's a good man, he's an excellent father, again, what I'm redirected back to is the fact that he don't like black women, which to me is problematic, but yet he's in a relationship with one. So there's probably some sense of trying to discover, trying to examine, trying to see, you know, what this thing is, some curiosity, even though he's feeling you, but he's probably wrestling with the fact that, like, you know, I'm in love with you or I'm digging you, but yet at the same time I got major issues with black women. So for me, that would be a significant problem, because at the end of the day, like, if he don't like black women, essentially what he's saying is that he don't like himself, because, you know, he came from one. So to me, that right there is extremely critical. And then when it comes to the whole religion
So what are you saying? Are you saying that that's something that she shouldn't be, like, stepping off?
You should not overlook that. I mean, you should not overlook that. He needs to do some self-work. So I would not at all make a long-term commitment to this relationship if that's an issue that he has. I definitely wouldn't.
Not at this point.
Not
But
at
would
this
you
point,
count
nah.
the relationship out?
I wouldn't, but again, he needs to do some self-work first, some self-reflection, some therapy to just really get to the underlying reason why he got issues in this area.
So what I would add to that before we transition to the black woman thing is that
I was already talking about the black woman.
I'm sorry, not the black woman thing, to the religion, to the Christianity piece in terms of where you all are with that, is that there are many things that we all as individuals have issues with. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we're walking contradictions. You know, we had a father who was not there for us, and so we say we're never going to be like him, but yet we're challenged, you know, to not do the things in our relationship with our children that our father did to us, or something like that. Same thing for women, and so that doesn't mean you throw the person out. It means that they are a developing person. So that's just another example of how, you know, we all have we got hang-ups. We got some serious stuff with us. You know, I'll say that the black woman thing is particularly sensitive because it has to do with race and culture and our identity and that kind of thing. But I will say this: if he can acknowledge, if he's able, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, to acknowledge that this is an area that I really got to work on. I got some issues in this area, and I can see how I have some biases, you know, and it probably has to do with some of my perhaps upbringing, relationship with his own mother, whatever. If he can at least get to that point and make a commitment to continuing to work on that area of him, then I think that's an okay thing. But you have to come into the relationship with your eyes wide open that he said he's going to work on it. He ain't say he's going to make it disappear. So that means that it's going to be something that you're going to have to really be cognizant of. And it is serious, especially if you have little brown baby girls who are going to turn into black women, and they need a father who's going to be able to support and celebrate and lift them up, and not perpetuate any kind of negative ideas about black women that he has not yet overcome for himself. But again, we all got issues. We have to choose which ones we're willing to deal with. We never get a person who doesn't have an issue. But the requirement here, if you want him to be the one, is that he's got to be able to own it. If he don't own it, he don't see it, no. Then you certainly can't move forward because there's not going to be any work done because he don't even see an issue. Yeah. Okay, so that's
own
that
it,
piece.
see it, and do the work.
Yes, own it, see it, and do the work. Yeah. So that Christianity thing, we know something about that. We know a little something about that.
Yeah, we definitely do.
The religion piece.
Early on in our relationship, I mean, we had challenges in this particular area. My wife's parents are pastors of a church, and I grew up Baptist myself, but you know, I made a transition earlier, I guess in my college years, where I started studying traditional African spirituality, and you know, I made some shifts in terms of my perspectives, my beliefs, and there was some criticism that I threw in my wife's way, or a lot of folks' way, when it came to their beliefs around Christianity, especially, I mean, in this letter right here, he speaks about it being like the white man's religion, and so I was big on that back in the day, you know, but you know, over time, I've actually grown and matured in my thinking. And I've realized that there's more than one way to practice Christianity. But what I will say is that during that time period, it created a lot of friction in our relationship because I was trying to impose my views upon my wife. And I was actually suggesting that her perspective was a limited one. Her mindset and what she was exposed to was limited. And so, again, it caused a whole bunch of friction in our relationship. But you know, as I grew and matured in my thinking, what I realized is that even in me trying to superimpose my thoughts and perspectives on my wife, I was still operating from a limited framework. And so I had to mature and expand my mind and, again, understand that there's more than one way to practice Christianity.
And to practice our spirituality. I mean, what folks often do, because in the African American community, there is no secret that, you know, there's a corner of us, right? There's a sliver of us, a community of people who frown down on Christianity and the black church and say, you know, look at how the black church has, you know, gotten over on people. Everybody running around shouting, all emotional. Nobody's using their mind. They're not thinking. You know, they're not paying attention to all of the parts of themselves. We're still struggling in this area, in this area, in this area, and the white man and our oppressors, if we go back, we can look at how they intentionally and strategically infused this religion onto our people. Do you understand that you can be black, you can be conscious, and you can be Christian? you can have a certain level of understanding of your history, and you can infuse parts of your modern African American experience and the experience of your ancestors, and talk about the universal God that exists everywhere in all religions. You can bring all those things together. There's so many ways you can't put God in a box. So I hope that he watches this video with you, because for me, it's really, we're talking based on our own experiences and perspective, but really the bottom line is, as my husband said early on in the video, do you have common principles and a common foundation? Because the methods, the different ways that your experiences can come out, and the ways that you want to practice your spirituality can manifest, they can look very different from day to day, from year to year, right? They can look very different. But do you both, me and him both, we both know that there's more than one way. We both value the right to self-determination, the right to have your own. I don't need a mediator between me and God. I can go to God on my own, right? And so the way that we get there and the way that we do our thing may be different. And I may have a different preference. He may have a different preference. But at the end of the day, what we teach our children are our foundational principles that join us together as man and wife and join together our family. And on the way, he learned a lot about what spirituality is and is not, and so have I, because he opened me up to things that were never in my atmosphere of awareness at all. So at the end of the day, we hope that this has been of help to you. Openness is the key. Committing to action is the key. Doing something about it. And you can't do none of that if you don't stop playing and start pushing.